All right, guys. Enough with the lying, the screaming, and so on. Just admit that my parents pharmacologically abused me with nefarious premeditated intentions. Just admit it. I mean, it's obvious. Just admit it. I mean, enough of this nonsense. I mean, why is this going on? Why is this continuing? They obviously are lying to me. They obviously are gaslighting me. My mother, father, and stepfather. And my doctors know. My doctors are lying and gaslighting me too. It's obvious. I mean, it's clear as day there's hidden realities. It's fucking clear as day. I said I realize there's no objective evidence and they won't confess, but let's call a spade a spade. It's not simply mental illness. My parents are lying to, gaslighting, and keeping hidden realities from me. I want to scream at them, tell me the truth. Be honest and transparent about everything. Please. Enough with the lies. I feel like what they're saying to me is all bullshit. I'm tired of the willful blindness pretending like they're telling me the truth. They're clearly keeping secrets, some of which are very bad. It's not ideas of reference from social media posts convincing me my suspicions are true. It's not delusions. There's clearly secrets, and they refuse to tell me what they are. It's so frustrating. Somebody says, take a deep breath and let it out. All right. I mean, if they really were pharmacologically abusing me with nefarious premeditated intent, I mean, just enough. I mean, enough. Enough of the Owen Hart narrative. Oh, it was your choice. You wanted to do it. I mean, no, you gaslit it into happening. So just admit it. Just admit it at this point. I mean, and if them admitting it means they're going to go to jail, well, they should. Well, they should go to jail. So good. Somebody says maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they had good intentions and they over medicated me, but they never expressed any empathy or sympathy for that. In fact, they never apologized for over medicating me. Yeah, I'm taking Abilify 10 milligrams at the moment. Just calm down. I feel like they're lying. I feel like they're gaslighting me, but they deny it. They deny it. They tell me they are telling me the truth. When I say let's call a spade a spade. But the psychiatrist says let's call a spade a spade. You're delusional. You're schizoaffective. It's not real. So I said, liars when they speak the truth are not believed. And I know Dr. Garrett. I said Aristotle once said, liars when they speak the truth are not believed. I don't believe my parents are telling me the truth. And Dr. Garrett said, if Aristotle were a psychiatrist, he might have said, Psychiatric disturbances lead people who have ideas of reference to perceive others as lying when they are telling the truth. Your own mind is your worst nemesis. Your own mind is your persecutor. My mind is the battlefield. Keep telling myself they're not lying. Keep telling myself they're telling me the truth. Maybe I need more psychiatric medications. Maybe I need mental health recovery groups. Keep telling myself they're telling me the truth. Somebody says, read Dr. Garrett's previous email again. All right, I will. One sec. I'll read that email to you right now. Hold on. I just got to load it up. Dr. Garrett said to me on July 13th, 2024. I'm sorry, not 2017, 2024, just 2 days ago. Despite your gains in socializing, you seem to be drifting farther and farther away from recovery. It is quite easy to demonstrate how it is your own mind that is gaslighting you, not your family and doctors. Here is one example among many. Your mind tells you that a group of conspirators, your family, your doctors, and so on, convinced you to take PrEP. Quite the opposite occurred. I know you saved my emails, so you could probably find one in which I personally assured you that the chance you had acquired HIV by stepping on something was nil. Andrew, it was you that was worried. It was you that decided to take PrEP. You and only you. Everyone tried to reassure you, but your mind would not let you listen. Your psychiatric condition is falsifying not only the current intentions of people around you, turning them into persecutors, but it is also eroding the memory of your life as it has actually occurred. Your mind is falsifying your life history. I urge you to not give in to this trend. As if this sequence weren't bad enough, an idea of reference has convinced you that taking HIV PrEP has in some way increased your risk for HIV, which accounts for your persistent anxiety about HIV. The letters HIV occur in both the phrase HIV and HIV PrEP, but it is an idea of reference to conclude that HIV PrEP increases the risk of HIV just because of the overlap of 3 letters. In recent months, your typical email has the following 2-part structure. In the first part of the email, you elaborate a daydream that family, friends, and doctors are lying to you, but you know the truth, and you insist they confess. You then say you suspect that the delusion is true, but there is no objective evidence. Then in the second part of the email, you write, or it could be true that my family are not lying, where you appear to be in touch with reality. It should make you anxious that your mind goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between these 2 opposite positions. But the fact that your mind goes around in circles like this doesn't seem to concern you. What seems to concern you is a persistent belief that everyone is lying to you, not that your mind goes around in circles. Continuing in groups and with medication may help stop this downward spiral. I'm afraid that you write the word suspect only to give yourself permission to persist in your daydream. If your suspicions were really only suspicions, and not a way of dressing up your delusional convictions in a seemingly more acceptable doubt, you would regard your suspicions not only as guides to a hidden truth, but you would recognize your suspicions as your mind gaslighting you, denying you a real life you might have if you fully embraced the help toward recovery being offered to you. It may be then that your mind only appears to be going back and forth between 2 different points of view, and that in your heart of hearts you maintain only one position, that your family is gaslighting, in which case your use of the word suspicion functions to disguise your enduring conviction. If so, this isn't a true example of double bookkeeping, because you are only really looking at one set of books. One last thought. You often invoke the phrase, let's call a spade, when you want to make the point it is obvious that your family and doctors are torturing you. That phrase is intended to invite people to be honest and acknowledge what you perceive to be an obvious truth. Because I think you're repeating the phrase, let's call a spade leads you farther and farther away from recovery, I will use the same phrase now to show you that other people can use this phrase in an effort to lead you back to reality. Andrew, let's call a spade. You are marred in a daydream of persecutors and can't find your way out because you are too afraid to press on into the real world. Although you have made gains in socializing recently, each time you take a step towards real friends, your chief persecutor, your own mind, throws up anxieties and obstacles that make you worry about how you think, feel, and do will be perceived by others. That the true battlefield where you must fight for your mental life, that is the true battlefield where you must fight for your mental life. The place where your mind offers up a minefield of obstacles when you try to proceed with a true recovery process. So basically, Dr. Garrett is telling me it's delusions. He's telling me it's suspicions. He's telling me my mind is the battlefield. He's telling me, nobody nefariously pharmacologically abused me. Stop toggling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, And if I can't seem to break this trend, then obviously I might need more psychiatric medications or mental health recovery. I know Dr. Garrett said in that email that toggling, obviously, you're going from somebody loves me to they trying to kill me back to they love me back to they trying to kill me. That's double bookkeeping, meaning you both believe the delusion and you don't believe the delusion, and you're unconcerned about the inconsistencies of your toggling point of view. However, he thinks, in my heart of hearts, I only maintain one book, which means I basically think my parents are lying and gaslighting me. I think they're liars, and he doesn't think I even think, they're, telling me the truth. However, maybe that's not true because, like, my mother made me a smoothie before, and I talk to my father like he's telling me the truth at times. And I think obviously the persecutory delusions creep in very often now, but I think I'm able to toggle my way out of it. I don't think that's true when he says I think it is double bookkeeping. I think it is still, two different realities about my parents: the loving mother and father reality and the sadistic persecutor reality. I think I'm able to toggle back and forth and get, shifting viewpoints about them. So I disagree with him when he says it's only single bookkeeping. It's actually double bookkeeping still. So I disagree with that particular part in the email. When I get emotional, when I think emotionally, I think I lose touch with reality, and I think emotionally way too much recently. I notice obviously the adrenaline when I work out at the gym. Often the switch flips. Coffee can flip the switch. I know I just had a cup of coffee, and that seems to flip the switch. Obviously, if my mother or father yells at me, that can flip the switch to persecutory delusions. Um, I think emotion, adrenaline, caffeine, things like that can flip the switch in my brain. Somebody says maybe you need a mood stabilizer. Is that what Abilify is? Somebody said they have a sneaking suspicion that I need something different than Abilify. They've never heard of somebody with schizoaffective being on Abilify to treat schizoaffective. And maybe I need a mood stabilizer too. However, I'm pretty happy with the Abilify. There aren't so many adverse side effects in comparison with the other antipsychotics. But some people say I'm not functioning. Some people say I'm not doing a good job. Some people are saying I'm sick with schizoaffective and the Abilify is not working. So maybe I need another medication, an alternate medication, a different medication. Or maybe I need to get out there and socially engage more. Regardless, some people say the Abilify isn't working, Somebody says I don't need to take the whole pharmacy again, but I definitely need to take a stronger medication because I'm on a small dose of Abilify and it's not working for me, they say. Somebody says if I only get psychotic when I am on a high, coffee, caffeine, or exercise, maybe it's related to the mood. Who knows? Oh, no, I definitely think it's related to emotional thinking. I definitely think it's related to adrenaline, emotional thinking, and that kind of thing. The delusions definitely correlate with adrenaline, caffeine, emotional thinking, and that kind of thing. Like right now, I'm not thinking of my parents as persecutors. In fact, I'm thinking of my mother and father with the loving mother and father lens. But you saw earlier in this live stream when I was thinking of them as sadistic persecutors. So, you know, there's no problem at the moment. It's just that I toggle in and out of delusions. I get rapid delusional mood swings about people thinking they love me, and I'm able to toggle. Then I toggle into they're trying to kill me, back to they love me, back to they're lying and gaslighting me. And when you get rapid delusional mood swings about people like my parents, it's just bad. You got to see people with a consistent lens. You know. Somebody asked me what's the percentage of the time. I think 70% of the time I see my parents with the loving parent lens, and 30% of the time I see them with the sadistic persecutor lens, I guess. I don't know. Maybe even less. Maybe it's even more like 95% of the time I see them as loving parents, and 5% of the time I see them as sadistic persecutors. Or maybe it's even like 99% of the time I see them as loving parents, but 1% of the time I see them as sadistic persecutors. However, that 1% of the time is dangerous. 1%, 1% of emotional tsunami can level a city. A tsunami can level. I'm not saying, I'm going to level anybody. It was just, I'm just saying how dangerous tsunamis are. And, when you get persecutory delusions, you can't even get it 1% of the time. You have to not get deluded. You have to be out of this tsunami 100% of the time. Somebody says it seems like I get persecutory delusions, most of the time. I don't think that's true. I think the majority of the time I'm stable, I'm calm, I'm rational, I'm lovey-dovey, Andrew. I get in these emotional tsunamis. So maybe it is related to the mood. That's a fair point. Somebody wants to know why I'm making more live streams today. On a lighter note, it's because my tripod broke. So, however, I think the live streams are actually better than the DSLR videos. What do you guys think? What do you prefer, the live streams or the DSLR videos? TB says he's glad I cleaned the lens to the camera. I'm going to NAMI this evening. That's a positive action where I could socially engage. Try to avoid the caffeine for the most part, and try to socially engage at NAMI tonight. Dr. Copland is pushing for Clozaril and Vega and so on. However, I don't want to. I don't really want to be on anything. I don't even really want to even be on the Abilify. But they think I need a stronger medication. Somebody says I don't need the medication. To be honest, I don't think I think Dr. Garrett wouldn't agree with that. And I know Dr. Copland. This is the psychopharmacologist now. This is not Dr. Garrett. This is Dr. Copland. He says, and of course he's an expert in medication, so his viewpoint is obviously medication, where Dr. Garrett is Dr. Natural. Dr. Copland said, Andrew, you desperately need meds to help you out of this hopeless downward spiral of self-destruction. To say you don't need medication now or then shows very limited insight on your part into your illness. Your judgment is also impaired, as instead of embracing a pharmacological and psychological path towards recovery, you rant about people prescribing medication out of nefarious intent and sink further into a toxic state of internet addiction and fictitious saviors. You are going off track, Andrew, but you do not appreciate the long-term implications for your hapless trajectory. There is still an air of smugness as you reject the medication option, implying that you are sufficiently in control of your disastrous situation, that you don't need to pollute your body with toxic substances, instead of sincerely exploring the medication option. If I was in your situation, I would desperately jump at any option that gave me a shot at a normal life. It is your life, but it is sad to watch you slipping into a state of chronic mental illness with less and less chance of ever coming out of it. Jeremy Copland. Somebody says, downward spiral. Where does this man think you're going? You're doing okay. I just punched the drywall. But this is just some internet troll, probably. Somebody says, another person with a contrasting viewpoint says, I do need meds. Somebody says, you're a little unstable to say the least. Well, I'm on Abilify. It's not like I'm on no meds. Somebody says, you need at least one strong med. And I am. Abilify is a strong med, and I'm on Abilify 10 milligrams at the moment, and I've been taking it for months. Somebody says, I need something stronger than Abilify. Maybe like Invega or Clozaril. It's gonna wreck sexual function, but I mean the sexual function isn't bad on the Abilify, actually, believe it or not. I don't mind the Abilify. But Invega, that raises prolactin. I don't want to do the Invega nightmare again. That's gonna suck. I'm not going back to fucking Invega. Somebody says I do need meds. That person who's saying that I don't need meds is just a troll. All right, I'm gonna give that guy a ban. Yeah, I banned that guy because he clearly wasn't being helpful. All right, guys. Well, I think my appointment as of right now with Dr. Copland is scheduled for, let's check my calendar. Well, August. It's scheduled for August. I don't want to give you the exact date. But maybe I'll talk with him about an alternate medication or adding a mood stabilizer or something. I mean, it's an idea. Well, I got NAMI tonight, so I mean, the socialization part is important too, obviously. I mean, the socialization and the that's obviously very important. The interpersonal relationships and the love, that's obviously very important. But also the medication, the pharmacological thing. Some people say, unfortunately, that might be necessary. And Dr. Garrett, I don't know if he's necessarily very anti-medication, but he definitely isn't pro-medication. And even he's kind of pushing for medication at this point. So, I mean, if even Dr. Garrett's pushing for medication, at the moment, you might need a little something. I know Dr. Garrett, obviously believes you can recover in some cases from schizophrenia and schizoaffective without the use of medication. But I think he doesn't believe, me at the moment should be exploring that option. He doesn't believe I should be coming off my medication at the moment. So if the doctor who believes in recovery from schizophrenia without medication is pushing for you to take medication, you got to listen. All right, guys, I guess that about does it. I'm going to go for a walk, then I'm going to take a shower, then I'm going to go to NAMI. Then I'm going to go to NAMI tonight. Hopefully NAMI is good.